Welcome back. In a move that was met with complete shock and utter dismay, the PGA Tour and the Saudi-backed Live Tour agreeing to merge.
Yeah, the move is unexpected and political in nature. For more, let's bring in two experts to talk about it. Former tennis pro and ESPN commentator Patrick McEnroe, and golf and commentator and amateur champion Hilary Fordwich. Hilary, I'll start with you. So for months, PGA Commissioner Jay Monahan, he bashed the Live Tour, threatened lifetime bans for players who left the PGA Tour and made Live golfers his #1 enemy. But now he's changing his tune. What do you make of this? Why do you think this happened?
Well, pleasure to be back with you again, Alison, and with you, Rob. Well, quick answer. Why did this happen? Of course, money. Always follow the money. But very interestingly, when they announced this, it was actually up in Canada. The Canadian Open, of course, is just about to begin. And they were in a room with the players. Of course, the PGA is a sort of a players organization. And Jay Monahan, the commissioner, who you just mentioned, somebody asked, actually, I think it was Grayson, Grayson Murray asked for him to, said he should resign. And Rory McIlroy shot back, just play better, Grayson. And then actually Grayson said an expletive of where Rory should go. Begins with F. I'll let the audience guess on that. So there was a standing ovation, though, when Jay Monahan's resignation was called for. What does this mean? The players, yes, to exactly your point, Alison, they're rather disgusted that Jay Monahan, who said, quote, "You'll never have to apologize for playing on the PGA Tour." They're rather disgusted that they have been blindsided, to say the very least, about this.
Right.
But this is the situation. It's a very long story, and I won't go on. But one last point: the PGA could no longer sustain, even though they were winning in court, they could no longer sustain the losses, the legal fees. The lawyers have lost out of this. Lawyers never lose. But the golf will be better off because of this.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, blank check too. Patrick, good to see you, my
Yes.
friend. So Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, think about Tiger Woods, people that were left out in the cold here. So Mickelson and Johnson made millions of dollars, right? They signed with Live, and now they don't lose anything because of this, because Live and the PGA are getting together. If you're Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy or one of these other PGA golfers who chose loyalty over money, what are you thinking right now?
Well, Rob, I'm not surprised that this has happened. Obviously, I was surprised the way this came about so quickly. And I spoke to a PGA player who was also very surprised how quickly this was announced and how it went down. And the easy thing to do here, and it's somewhat true, is to say the PGA Tour has been hypocritical because of what's been said already. What Jay said initially and, sort of threatening the other players. And if you're the players now that didn't take the money, Rob, that you just mentioned, you're probably a little bit irritated. But I think you have to look at it from this perspective, which, people forget about this fact. The U.S. government, I have a lot of friends, as I know you do, Rob, in the financial world, in the business sector. And what do they say to me all the time? The money's in the Middle East. Now, we don't talk about them because they're smarter than sports associations. They keep it quiet. But the business and the money that goes on in the Middle East is simply astounding. Hedge fund guys are going over all the time there to raise money. So look, while you can take shots to the PGA Tour, and you're within your right to do that, and other sports entities, by the way, including the World Cup, which was played over in the Middle East as well. But at the same time, let's look at the reality of the situation. And we all know that money changes everything. But if I'm one of those PGA Tour players that didn't take the money because I wanted to be on the higher moral ground, now I'm starting to wonder, maybe I missed out here.
Yeah, let's talk about that money. Hilary, Jay Monahan repeatedly referred to that money that was funding Live Golf as the same money tied to 9/11. So now families of victims from 9/11 are saying that they feel betrayed by the PGA Tour. What do you think of this situation?
Oh, Alison, you're totally correct. In fact, yesterday they came out and they actually made a statement about what had happened in terms, obviously, 9/11 and how they were portrayed, because, of course, obviously Saudi-backed. And we know that of the 21 of those terrorists on sad 9/11, 19 of them were from actually Saudi Arabia. This is actually, this whole move being referred to as sports washing. What is sports washing? It's literally using sports to wash away human rights abuses and exactly what happened to those members of the 9/11 families. They were lost on that dreadful, ghastly day. So for them, this is a huge loss, and they're feeling really betrayed. And we remember there were protests outside of Bedminster when actually, of course, the live event, the PGA event was actually cancelled up there, and that was outside of Trump's golf course. Those were 9/11 families from the New York region.
Yeah, by the way, this is a political win for Donald Trump. The guy's running for president.
Yes.
He called this a year ago. He was exactly right. And I'm sure we'll hear more from the former president today on Truth Social. Patrick McEnroe, good to see you. Hilary Fordwich, we'll do it again real soon. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Should mention, by the way, Hillary's had 2 holes in 1.
Yeah, she's played it in a lot of tournaments.
I thought
she's
zero.
Really good.
0 holes in 1.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to
I
golf
always
with
try.
her.
I try on par 4s and 5s as well.
I try miniature golf.
Doesn't work. Now there, I'm good.